Hello and welcome. My name is Michelle with Phoenix Flow Art. If you like my content, please like, subscribe, share, and provide feedback. If there's something that you want to see, please put it in the comments below. So today I'm going to be doing a resin piece. This is a 22-inch MDF board, and I used it for another piece of artwork that didn't turn out quite the way I liked. So I decided to go ahead and use the same board to create this piece today. So again, this is a 24-inch MDF round. And right now I'm laying down a coat of resin on it. And the resin I'm using is KSResin. There's a link in my description below if you want to check it out. But the reason why you put a coat of resin on is to help the resin glide and not have as much tension when you're laying down your resin. So this is my first coat. It's a clear coat. So before I even put the clear coat on, I went ahead and spray painted the board, the colors that similar to the colors that I'm going to use, because resin can be transparent. So therefore I wanted to make sure that there was color underneath. So I'm using, which is unusual for me, this is the first time I'm using a lot of TLP pigments. Really wanted to see how they do in the resin. I've done them usually with blooms, but I'm using TLP, which is This Little Piggy. And the first color I am using is Mermaid, which is a turquoise color. And these colors, TLP, they have a lot of sparkle and shimmer to them. And then this is a purple color, which is called Erika's Shimmer, and it's by Color Passion. It's actually a paste. Pretty deep purple. And when you mix a paste with just traditional micas, powders, sometimes your piece will actually sell up, and I do get some small cells in this piece. And this is another TLP color called Nebula. And the last TLP color I will be using is the gold. It's called Harvest Gold. I decided to put that on just a little bit later in the project. So here I'm going to just basically swipe the color across the substrate so that it covers. And I don't mind that it mixes a little. Actually, I like the fact that it mixes. Sometimes when people use resin products, they try to keep them separate. Don't let them mix a lot. But for this project, it works out well. As you know, resin is self-leveling, which also works out because this piece was textured. So board is not exactly flat. So I'm just using the torch to pop the bubbles before I actually use my heat gun. That's just personal preference. Some people don't do that and just start off with the heat gun, which is perfectly fine. Now I'm getting my heat gun. I am warming up the resin before I start pushing it around. I switched nozzles on the end of my heat gun, so now I'm going to start pushing it around. Basically just to get a desired composition, get the colors where I want them to be. And then once that's done, I go ahead and tilt a little bit to make sure I get my sides covered. And then I just go ahead and add stones. So I'll let you watch the rest of this video. I'll be coming on here and there and sharing some information. Phoenix Flow Art, creating is what we do. So here I'm going to start laying down the stones. And yes, I took my gloves off, but I'm not putting my hands in the resin. So definitely when you're using resin, definitely use a mask. Also make sure you use gloves. So I'm just dropping the stones in the resin in my desired location. And once that's done, I will let it dry overnight. Crushed glass I usually get from Michael's. I've gotten some from Amazon, some artists also. So you can get your crushed glass multiple places. And I tend not to use one color. Sometimes I'll start off with clear or silver, and then I'll drop in a few specks of gold or white stones or something of that nature, just to give it a different look. I'm also putting some stones on top. And here I'm dropping in some gold resin on my stones. And I'll top it off with a little bit of clear. Whenever I'm doing stones, I tend to have to build up to the point where I like it. I just never put a whole bunch of stones in at once because I'm always unsure. So I will add stones and build up to the level that I like. So day one's about to end, and we'll continue on day two after this dries. So day two, everything is dry. So the first thing I do will sand the surface. You sand the surface so that when you pour in your second coat of resin, it can interlock. And as you see, I do have cells in the center. The turquoise and gold made the cells. I'm sorry, turquoise and purple. So when you're sanding, use a fine grit of sandpaper. Use like 600 or higher. So that way when you lay your second coat of resin, you can't even see where you sanded. After you sand, you need to clean off that surface of dust. So I just spray some water on, use a cloth, and you get all the dust off the surface. So next I'm going to basically create a boundary or a gold border or trim around my stones. And for that, I'm using Pinata Rich Gold, which is an alcohol ink. And to thicken up my alcohol ink a little bit, I use Pearl X, Solar Gold, or any type of mica to add it, mix it in so that it's a little bit thicker, so that helps with the alcohol ink doesn't run as much. Then I just go ahead and trim out my stones. I'm fast, look at me go. As you can see, I sped this up a little bit. And I sped up different portions of the video. I'm adding lines, and there's multiple ways you can do lines. In this case, I went ahead and mixed resin and some glitter together, and I put it in a Ziploc bag, cut the corner of the Ziploc bag so that I can make my resin line. But you can make lines via just paint them on, or an acrylic pen, or you can make lines with gold leaf or silver leaf or any type of leaf. So again, there's many ways to make lines. You don't have to use a glitter line, but it adds a little extra bling to it. And sometimes I make my glitter lines with a syringe. After I get my lines on, I will just let it dry overnight, and we will continue another day. So the next morning, I will go ahead and edge up my glitter lines. They're nice and dry. So you edge them up so that it has looks like a clean finish to it. They're nice and they're not raggedy. And I use a gold pen for that. I think that pen is DecoColor. All the products that I used, I will list them in the description below, including that pen. So now I'm going to first add some resin over my stones again because they're not built up enough. So I have to add some more stones. And then once that's done, I will go ahead and add a clear coat over everything. But first, again, I have to add more stones because they look a little shabby, I thought. Wasn't big enough. So, like I said, I'll add the stones and then I'll add my clear coat and then you'll see the final product.